And certainly want to welcome everybody in attendance and appreciate you being here. At this time, if you'd please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, we thank you once again for the many things that you do in our life and the many blessings that you bestow upon us. We thank you for the opportunity to study your words and your teachings and guide us in a direction that you would have us follow. We ask that you be with our troops as they serve their country. We ask that you guide their safe return back to our community, and we thank them for the opportunity to provide for us the freedoms that we share today. We also ask that you be with us here tonight as we carry on the business of the city. Amen. Amen. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Edwards and Ms. Palazzolo are out of town, so they will not be present at tonight's meeting. And with that, everybody's been presented a copy of tonight's proposed agenda. If there are no additions or corrections, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Also, you've been presented a copy of the minutes of the regular council meeting of September the 25th. If there are no additions or corrections to those, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? I didn't hear Matt say anything. I'd like to remind everybody once again that of the important dates for the upcoming election. That is on October the 10th. This will be the last day to register to vote for the November general election. Also, October the 16th. This is the first day to mail out absentee ballots, and also early voting begins on that date. November the 3rd is the last day to mail the absentee ballots. Voters will also have the opportunity to continue the 1% special local option sales tax. This is to be used to fund capital outlay projects within the city. These, I know everybody's familiar with the recreation departments and the improved department and the improvements that have taken place there. There are several more of those, the opportunities in the upcoming spliced election. Also, another major project on that was Peter Street. Peter Street was put off toward the end because you had to accumulate the dollars to fund it. It was a major project. The phases that's there was $4 million, $2 million from the city, $2 million from the county. And one thing that we did, we put in, I believe it was $55,000 a month into that fund so we could get started on that and accumulate those. The county put a certain amount in there as well, and so it took a while to accumulate the dollars to move forward with that project. And this is phase one. There are dollars left to go into phase two that will, depending on the dollars, take us hopefully to Richardson Road. But we feel sure that we'll at least make it to Belmont Drive. And if I know it's been inconvenient recently with the construction of the roundabout, there were some problems associated with that, with water and wet spots, and they couldn't do the paving there. I was there last week. The water department, thanks to Jerry and Larry, had Mark there to dig up some of that to look and see if the possibility of a line that was causing that, but it was not. It had to do some French drains to get the water off so it'd be dry enough. But with the rain now, the roundabout's in a position to move forward with the paving that should begin as soon as it gets dry enough, and the construction work at the on 40, will begin at 41. There will be some drainage issues that will be finished first, and then they'll move forward with the curb and gutter and sidewalks as well as the paving shortly after that. It is a project that's moving forward, phase 2, well, with the engineering and cost estimates on the right-of-way. Is maybe 30–40% complete on that. Hopefully we'll have be able to do some work on that come shortly after the first of the year, or around the first of the year. And but it is a major part of the past SPLOST. It'll be a major part of the upcoming SPLOST. I would encourage everybody to look and take the opportunity to study what the SPLOST has to offer and the projects that will be available, both city and county. Also, there will be a referendum to get the input of the electorate on 2 other items, one of those concerning term limits, and what appears on the ballot is term limits of 2 for the mayor and 3 for the council. And also there will be an opportunity to vote, get public opinion, voter opinion, on whether or not to increase the council from 4 members to 6 members. This time we'll have the council comments, and we'll begin with Councilman Edwards. No comment. And and this report will not be as long as Mr. Edwards. Water, wastewater, and engineering special product status reports. The 2-inch galvanized line replacement project. The project as a whole is approximately 95% complete. The nutrient trading monitor pilot program. Year 2 of the program has begun with a special sampling event completed on September the 28th. Wastewater treatment motor control center upgrades, phase 2, are on site. Installation is in progress and going very well. Also, South Calhoun bypass utility relocations. The area along 41 is nearing completion, and this will complete the project for utility relocations on the bypass. Water and sewer projects in development. We have the airport sanitary sewer relocation, relocating approximately 4,500 feet of sewer main to accommodate the airport expansion. State Route 156 water main relocation. GDOT Railroad Bridge replacement at Ranger. Plans have been submitted to DOT. North Wall Street and Redbud Road intersection improvements. GDOT asked for and was given an estimate to relocate any utilities in conflict with the proposed project. Highway 41 south at Lynn Creek. This is a GDOT widening project, and plans have been submitted to Georgia Department of Transportation. Projects in engineering and conceptual design. Blackwood Creek trunk sewer replacement. Yarborough Street replacement sewer. Louis Avenue, Cherry Street, and Florence Avenue sewer replacement. In water, we have the Bellwood Road water transmission main, Curtis Parkway water main, Reef Station water main. Second interconnect with Pickens County. New 2 million gallon Ranger tank and water mains. GDOT State Route 156 at Salacoa Creek bridges. In water treatment, we had total gallons withdrawn 320 million, with a daily average of 10,680,000. Of which 38.9% came from Brittany Drive, and for the month of September had rainfall in the amount of 3.72 inches. Might make note of the fact so far this year we've had 48.02 inches of rain. Last year we had a total of 30.69. Wastewater treatment plant, average daily flows 4,051,051. Average BOD effluent of 4, average suspended effluent of 11, average COD effluent of 59. Water distribution, they responded to 264 total work orders that were completed during the month, of which 12 water connections were installed, 44 service leaks repaired, 34 water main leaks repaired. There were 473 utility locates responded to, 45 emergency utility locates called in for repairs, 104 miscellaneous calls to respond to. On September 28th, they completed installing 1,100 feet of 6-inch water main along Owens Chapel Road from Boone Ford Road, began flushing the line. Wastewater collection, there were 3,200 feet of sanitary sewer line, sewer services TV inspected. There were 6,300 feet of sanitary sewer lines cleaned, with 84 manholes opened and inspected, and they bush hogged 20,500 feet of sewer line right-of-ways. For the police department, they had anticipated fines of $86,000, collected $33,000. There were 422 cases, of which 57 were speeding, 14 DUIs. That's up quite a bit, isn't it, Gary? There were 54 highway accidents, and they patrolled 48,910 miles. For the fire department, they responded to 206 calls for service. There were 6 fire incidents with $12,900 in estimated fire damage, and 142 emergency medical services, 13 false alarms, and 1 severe weather and natural disaster. Additional fire department activities assisted with Northwest Georgia Regional Fair Parade. Members were deployed with GSAR to South Georgia for Hurricane Irma, completed all routine vehicle and maintenance and station maintenance. In the training division, they completed 708 total man-hours of training during the month. Training consisted of pump training, firefighter survival, and fire attack. For the inspections division, there were 37 annual inspections, 3 new business inspections, 19 requested inspections, 6 follow-up re-inspections. Additional inspection, Lieutenant Duval attended the city safety meeting and site inspection. Lieutenant Fox worked at safety fair and car seat check, conducted fire extinguisher classes for Calhoun High School with 220 students. Inspectors attended the North Georgia Code Officials Association meeting and conducted a safety fair at the Old Navy store. Building inspectors report is that there were 3 new residential. Last month, I'm straining my memory, but I think there was 8, but things continue to move forward in that area. I think that concludes Mr. Edwards. Councilman Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the council report for September for the electric department, construction continues on the new Holiday Inn Express, also the new Aspen Dental building. And construction has begun on 10 new units at the JW Plaza. Pole replacement continues at Newtown, Curtis Parkway, and Deuce Pond Road. The electric engineering has begun on the new 24/7 workout anytime, and that's at 516 West Belmont. The City of Calhoun's electric load for September projected to be about 38 million kilowatts. This is about 2 million less than last month, with actual numbers coming out here in about a week or so. Is that about the same as last year, Jeff, or just 2 million, a little bit lower? Okay. There'll be something interesting to hear in a minute with electric. But under telecommunications, CalNet is happy to report no major network or fiber issues during the Hurricane Irma. They started construction on a new internet customer disconnected one and one point-to-point on one dark fiber circuit. Repaired a drop fiber cut for construction crew at the new city school COLA STEM building. We installed camera recorder and 7 cameras for the recreation department. Also pulled network cable for camera locations at the pavilion and concession stand. We removed the remaining SONET equipment from all node sites, and that'll come up later in the meeting as well. Worked with vendors on implementing the new customer online payment system. It's called Invoice iCloud. It's going to allow customers with the web, IVR, phone, and text options to pay utility using credit cards multiple ways and debit cards. Completed Active Directory server replacement. This is the one I thought was neat. They attended a cybersecurity meeting in Atlanta sponsored by the MEAG, Electric Cities of Georgia. The electric department ordered a cybersecurity monitoring system device which CalNet installed. This device will monitor city web and network traffic for nefarious activities and will send alerts and reports, prioritizing any issues that need attention. So that's, and Larry was just telling me earlier, that's a statewide issue, but it's just really pretty cool to make sure that our grid's staying online and no bad things happening to it. We also opened 15 and closed 17 work orders. Under GIS, the Geographic Information Systems, trained electric and sewer departments personnel with the new GIS features. We installed the GIS website updates, and we also updated the following GIS layers: city zoning map, water system meter data, changed to fiber maps, fire department, pre-planned industrial and commercial buildings, physical addressing for buildings and billing information. We also started pre-building mapping for the fiber project, updated city and GIS websites. For the DDA, downtown development, created a website for the community and the tourists to enjoy. The website is www.downtowncalhounga.com. The annual farmers market was a success. The DDA hopes to continue this partnership with the local farmers next year. Harvest, which is coming up, it's going to be on October the 28th from 10 to 4 downtown Calhoun. It's free to the community. The DDA hopes to see everyone there for food, arts, and crafts, and a free tractor rides. The Food Trucks and Friends event, we're going to have another one. It's going to be on November 2nd in the parking lot out here from 5 to 9. There will be 5 food trucks. Kona Ice, Ben Honeycutt will be providing music. The annual tree lighting and visit with Santa will also be next month on November 19th from 6:30 to 8:30. And during that same time, the Gym Theater will be showing the Polar Express at 7:30. This event is also free for the community, and we hope to have a record crowd. Safety report for the month of September. The Safety Committee met on the 5th of September, and the topic was managing diabetes. A safety inspection was completed on the 12th at the Golf Pro and Maintenance area. We had 3 vehicle accidents and 2 worker compensations. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
And thank you for that report. For the animal control report, we had a beginning balance of 8 dogs at the shelter and 4 cats. We had 12 dogs that were adopted, 2 dogs that were rescued. There were 8 dogs reclaimed by owners, and we had an ending balance at the shelter of 5. There were 15 warnings given with no citations and 1 bite case. For the street department, they completed 30 shop and 29th Street Department work orders. They installed 5 new street signs, repaired potholes and utility cuts using approximately 22 tons of asphalt. They replaced 20 feet of sidewalk. They hauled mulch to the Recreation Department for the playgrounds. Cemetery Department performed routine maintenance on Fane and Chandler Cemetery, supervised the opening and closing of 12 grave sites. They also sold 22 new grave spaces. For the Parks Department, the ground crew picked up litter and hauled garbage to the dump and maintained records at the records room while mowing and weed eating downtown areas. The maintenance crew maintained designated buildings downtown. They installed a new door at the McConnell Road Community Center, and they cleaned fountains in downtown. Recreation Department youth football game started on September the 9th. There were 50 games played throughout the month. Youth soccer also started on September the 9th, and there were 88 games played throughout the month. Co-ed softball started on September the 14th with 12 games played during the month. GRPA district meeting. Kim Townsend, Jeff Davis, and David Mitchell attended the district athletic and business meeting on September the 27th in Lafayette. They received 3 hours of continuing education were obtained by the staff at this meeting. Also, the Unity Run had 3 full-time and 5 part-time staff members worked the finish line of the Unity Run that was held on September the 26th. The upcoming events, November the 11th through the 18th, GRPA District Football Championships, December the 2nd and 3rd, GRPA State Football North Regionals. I know we say it many times, but the SPLOST allowing progress at the Recreation Department, new structures on the 58 acres has allowed the Recreation Department to host many more tournaments, which has and these upcoming football tournaments and championships are just part of that. During the summer there were many softball and baseball events, so it'll continue into basketball, but we're proud of the job that the Recreation Department does, and a lot of that goes to thanking the people that voted for the SPLOST, and so it has a large economic benefit on our community, and once again they will have that opportunity again in the November election. Councilman Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, when we talk about SPLOST, we just can't talk about it enough, can we? The library report that I'm going to start with, just leave that one up though, Sharon, if you will. We had 6,000 visitors during the month of September. We had a major SPLOST project involving the library, a joint Calhoun City, Gordon County effort, as well as funding from the state that Representative Meadows secured for us. And it's kind of amazing, guys. I guess as we grow up, we kind of forget about the library and how important it was. I'm looking at the July and August numbers. We had 235 children there for story time in the month of September. Now that dropped to 6 in August simply because school starts back. But our library is still impacting a lot of people. Looking how it's changed, we had 18,603 people reached on Facebook, so social media is playing into that, but we also had 5 programs involving 45 adults where we were doing ESOL, or English as a second language. So another SPLOST project that is impacting the quality of life in our community, and hopefully many more to come with this next vote. Revolving loan fund, that's another great thing that started with Clarence Harris and his company many years ago. It's called Job Creation. It's for the city. Opportunities to borrow $15,000 for every job you create or retain. The program's resulted in 692 jobs here in Calhoun since it was started. The loan is at 2% interest with a 50% match from another source, so that there is skin in the game with the investor. As of August the 31st, the balance was $802,000 $719. Now, I've talked for a couple of months about being a little concerned. If you have too much money to loan, sometimes the state wants the money back. So we were looking at the Department of Community Affairs possibly wanting to get that money back and put it into another community. But we'll have a meeting this Friday with a manufacturer in town who's looking to borrow $500,000 with retention, additional jobs, and a match from another source. That's going to be $1.4 million invested in our community and over 50 jobs created. Now, that has not gone before the Loan Review Committee. That will be this Friday. But if things go well, then our funds will be down to $300,000. Please encourage anyone you know that has job retention, job creation. We've also sent a letter from this council to the Department of Community Affairs asking if that could be expanded to where we could look at economic growth, particularly in a downtown community. So we're waiting to hear back about that, but a lot of good things happening with the revolving loan fund. Okay, Sharon? Why is it important, guys? Jobs, 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 jobs. This is the August report, 4.8%. We're back into the blue, and blue is a good place to be. We've only been there probably 4 times in the last 12 years. 4.8% is, as you see there, the regional rate, and is only 0.1% over the state rate. We looked at double digits, anywhere from 14 to 16% 8 years ago, with an unreported unemployment rate of maybe 20 plus. So manufacturing is critical. It helps create jobs. Sharon, if you'll go on to the next slide, please. These are the statistics, and they're a little hard to read probably from where you're at, but for Gordon County, we have 21,316 people employed. 24,000 were working, with 1,200 being unemployed. Average annual wage rate was $39,900. And you remember in the past, when I drilled down on some of the manufacturing centers in that Northwest region, they have some of the highest wage rates. The only wage rates that are higher are metro wage rates. Somebody going to Atlanta, somebody going to Chattanooga. So the average duration before somebody gets reemployed, down at the bottom, 5.7 weeks. So most of the people are trying to get back into gainful employment. We get those statistics every month. We get them not only for the region, but we get them from the state, and it's always extremely interesting to see where that is going to go. Sure. Guys, Jimmy talked about it earlier, the Peter Street project. It's the biggest project. Y'all have heard me talk about it for 8 years. When we started this, I was in charge of reporting on streets. Streets doesn't sound exciting, but guys, without transportation, we're nothing. So as we started this project, we looked at money. And this council, mayor and council, has always been conservative. We always know it's your money, some of it ours, with taxes. So we want to spend it wisely. So we have a lot of debate, a lot of discussions over what to do where May Street and Peter Street intersect. There's a lot of options. You can go with a 4-way stop. You can go with a 2-way stop. You can go with yield signs. You can go with traffic lights. Or you can go with what you see right there, a roundabout. We didn't invent that. That came back. Ancient Rome had the first roundabouts. It was the best way to have transportation flow. We hired an engineering study. We all had our opinions. We didn't have complete unity on that because we all had a different opinion of what would work. But the engineering study came in and looked at accident rates, looked at speed, and looked at traffic flow, and the recommendation was to go with this system. There have been some unique issues with water. Jerry, I know you guys have been really working with Kevin's guys on trying to find what caused the issue. When it is done and when it is in, that's going to be the first in Gordon County. Is that the first everywhere? No. Anywhere you go, you're going to find roundabouts. It'll take some conditioning to get our citizens through that. Some people probably have never experienced a roundabout, but you're yielding right, yielding right, yielding right. You get down to St. Simon's and to the villages, and my in-laws live in the villages. If you guys don't know what that is, that's a retirement place of 152,000, and they've got several hundred of those, and they're dual lanes. Average population is 75 years of age. If they can do it, we can do it. And they do it very well. Thank you, Sharon. If you had any other photos. A higher one, we actually have hired a drone to go over Peter Street and this roundabout to give us a recording for history as well as present. And of course we wanted to put it on YouTube so that our citizens watching at home could see what's going on. I know it has been an inconvenience. I was down there a week ago walking between a few of the homes that are situated in that restricted area, and everybody is anxious to see how good of an improvement it'll make. Gary, I think you would attest to this. The biggest positive is going to be getting pedestrian traffic off of the highway and get them onto the sidewalks. It's got to be safer for the pedestrians, certainly safer for our citizens driving cars. So that's the big positive with that. Thank you, Sharon. The last thing I'm going to speak on is term limits. You guys know that I have been an advocate of this from the get-go. And this data sheet that is shown up on the board is available in the packet, available for your home study. This council up here in 2016 voted unanimously, 4-0, to let this go to the citizens. We wanted to get it on the presidential ballot. Because of the restrictions at the newspaper, we missed that by 1 day. So you didn't get to vote on it during the presidential election. It will be up this year. Jimmy's reported on it every week. It will be one of the things to choose. 2016 was a banner year. 40 different ballot measures across the country put term limits on there. One of them at the bottom is Marietta, Georgia. And believe it or not, as you go through it, and I've got a list that anybody can get if they want to, 80% of it was city councils and school boards. It wasn't state offices or national offices. Guys, it passed by 100% on every ballot. Every ballot approved term limits. There were 3 around the nation. California was 1. Colorado was 1. And I forget what the other one was, but they actually had an amendment on the ballot to vote to remove term limits. They were defeated by 60% margin. The average percentile on this was 75.5%. That's what the voters wanted. 75% of the voters who voted wanted term limits. It's going to be up for debate. It is debate. We don't all agree on this. Everybody doesn't agree. But we will know after the first Tuesday in November what the voters want to do. And if the voters elect to do this by 62% or larger, then I will personally be advocating at every level to make sure this takes place and the will of the voter is respected. How will it impact the people sitting here? It won't impact me at all. These other fellows that and the lady that sits on the other end will not be affected either. They will be grandfathered in so that during this election they finish their term, and then each council member has 3 terms, the mayor has 2 terms. The individuals, as I look through the audience, we got 3 people, and thank you guys for throwing your hats in the ring and being willing to serve. That shows people really want to do these jobs. It won't affect you guys. If either one of you 3 goes in, you're going to be looking at 12 years of service. You guys look young and look as young as I do, but I can't imagine you're going to want to be around for a quarter of a century. So it's something that the voters are going to decide on. I'm excited about it. I think it's great to try to do things differently. So be aware of it, be mindful of it, and when it's time to vote, then vote your conscience. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report.
And I appreciate that, and you're correct. It was approved by the voters in Marietta by about 80%. The council was a 6-to-1 vote to move forward with the term limits and provide it to the legislature. I think there's a lot of things to go into it for local consideration, as with any community, and certainly the will of the voter needs to be considered. One thing about the council as we look at it, and we go back for 50 years and probably since 1852 when it was done, but I can speak for the last 50 years that the average term of a council member is below 8. It's 7 point something. Also with that, the only person that I'm aware of other is Dickie Shelton, who's been longer than the 12 years that's recommended on that. other than Councilman Hammond, who filled out his term and not running for re-election. His term will be 13 years. So, and as far as the mayor goes, the last, before myself, the last 3 mayors have served 12 years each, with in various times prior to that time. But moving forward, this time we'll have the public hearings. The public will have the opportunity to make pro and con comments with a 10-minute maximum time limit for each side of the matter, and with each person speaking giving their name and address. First item is an ordinance to amend the charter of the City of Calhoun relating to municipal court and the incorporation of mandated changes in the charter. This is Article 6-101. It is to reflect the new statutory elements enacted by the Georgia legislature, and at this time we'll open the public hearing and ask if all the notices have been properly placed and given.
Mayor, as usual, we do that.
It's a great job that the city does. And Mr. Gavinian, I'll let you, if you would, report on that. This is the state passed some new laws that go into effect in January, and
they did,
requires this.
As we've been ongoing litigation in the Walker case, July 2016 was when the new statute was in effect with regards to the removal of municipal court judges. Currently, our system has a municipal court judge, chief judge, and associate judges who are appointed by charter by the mayor and council, but that's subject to removal by mayor and council without due process. The statute now allows for due process and only removal for cause.
And with that, I'll ask if anybody has any questions or comments concerning the charter change, concerning municipal court of us or Mr. Gavinian. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing and ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. There is no old business. Under new business, we have the first reading of an annexation and zoning request. This is for R1B. It is for 8.12 acres. This property is located at 1409 Highway 41 North. The request is by Juan Garcia. Zoning Advisory Board meeting is scheduled for November the 9th. The public hearing will be held on November the 13th. Also have a request by the Calhoun Police Department. This request is to withdraw $500 from asset forfeiture account number 1. These proceeds will be donated to the Gordon County Chamber of Commerce Drugs Don't Work program in conjunction with Red Ribbon Week, and this is something that we've done for a number of years.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Also have a request from Public Works to declare the following items as surplus. Cemetery, miscellaneous equipment including weed eaters, leaf blower, and a lawnmower. Street Department, miscellaneous equipment including weed eaters, 2 tractors, grade all, backhoe buckets, and a 1995 F800 dump truck. Parks Department, miscellaneous equipment including weed eaters and a leaf blower. And for utilities, 2 2005 Ford F-150s. Last known mileage on each was over 195,000 miles, and the odometers no longer work to get other readings. Also with that, a request from Telecommunications Department to declare recently installed SONET equipment inventory as surplus and to be sold on Gov Deals. And with that, concerning each of the items, are there any questions?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Mr. Peterson?
I don't have anything, Mayor.
Good job. And with that,
Eddie, you're doing good.
we have one item, one legal matter for executive session.
Well, given that we are missing two, we can very easily just go ahead and handle it at the next meeting.
Then on Mr. Gavinion's recommendation, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.